Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing some maintenance on our Tesla Model Y. Specifically, we're going to be replacing the intake filters for our air conditioning system, our HVAC system. This is not the cabin filters that you replace underneath the center console. This is actually the intake filters that we'll be replacing here in the frunk. Let's get into it. So the first thing I want to do is really kind of take a look at what we actually got in the package here. My friends over at YesLac sent me these intake filters, and there's actually a nice set here. There's 4 different pieces to it. So you actually have your 2 really high quality HEPA filters. It kind of shows the way the airflow is going. Really nice there. Then you have 2 just like particulate filters. And these are kind of pretty large ones where they're going to catch a lot of like the bigger debris and stuff like that. So you get all this kind of in the package, and they're quite large. Like looking at these are kind of hefty intake filters, much different than the cabin filters that you replace inside. I've done that before off camera. And I think this is just something that you want to do fairly regularly. Tesla recommends that you change your intake filters about every 3 years. So this is a 2022 Tesla Model Y with about 40,000 miles on it. I would wager that this has never been done in the history of the car. We bought the car used. So I'm excited to get into this today and actually see how dirty the filters are that are already down in there. So I'm going to kind of walk you guys through step by step how to actually do this process. So let's go get into it. So the first thing we need to do is actually just remove this plastic cover piece that goes across the front of the top of your frunk here. And it's just held on by clips, just like everything else in the car. So over here on the side, there's just a clip you kind of pull out and a few clips just along the back. And once you get it kind of loose on one side, walk around on the other side. And there's a couple more clips along this side and down all the sides here. So just give it a little bit of a tug, and you'll get all those clips loose. Set this off to the side. I want to show you, kind of give you a close-up of what we're going to be working with here. We're going to be taking a T20 bit. It's kind of let's see if the camera will focus on it. It's kind of a little star bit, and that's what Tesla recommends to use. And then all along the outside of this filter box, if you kind of pull back this rubber gasket, there's actually little, up there, the T20 screws. So I think there's 8 or 10 of them that go all around the kind of outside. Another one there. So just kind of moving this gasket out of the way will help get you there. The tricky part is down in here. You can kind of see it's not bright, but there's a couple of those screws. You can pull your kind of frunk tub out of the way. So down in there, you can kind of see it right there. Right where my finger is pointing, down in there. You can see that there's a few of these screws down along here. Now you can do this if you just pull this out of the way and get a screwdriver down in there. You can do it. I think it's going to be much easier just to remove this frunk tub. It's so easy. It's just 4 bolts that you can easily pop out. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to remove this frunk tub just to allow me to get some better access to the filters. And then we'll just pop this back in. It'll be a piece of cake. So to remove the frunk tub, all you're going to need is a 10mm socket. You don't need a power drill or anything like that for this, but it's much easier if you have one, and a trim tool. And the first thing we're going to do is pop out our little trunk button down here. And I've done this several times. There's just a couple clips, 1, 2, and pop it out like that. And then unplug your wiring harness right here to allow you to move the frunk tub. The other steps are removing the 4 bolts, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Once you do all that out and you unplug your harness, your frunk tub will lift right out. So I got the 4 bolts removed, 1, 2, 3, 4, unhooked all the wires here, and then your frunk tub will just lift right out and get out of your way. Then you have super nice access to all of those screws that you're going to need to get. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, probably 10 or so all along here. So now that we have access, don't be intimidated by all of this. All we're going to be working with is up here. So now we're ready to remove this top cover plate of our intake filter assembly. So I'm going to go ahead and buzz out all of these screws here. You can do this with a hand tool, which is honestly probably a better idea. While you're in here, it's not a bad idea to clean some of this gunk up, some of this dust and accumulation that gets in your Tesla over the last couple of years. So I'm going to do that too. But first we're going to take off this cover and see what it looks like. So we got all 10 of the screws out. Just be really careful not to drop any. You really don't want to lose anything in here down in the bowels of your Tesla. But after that, this top cover should pop right off. Whoa, look at those. Those are some nasty intake filters. Let me get you guys a close-up. So like I said, we're rocking a 2022 Model Y here. So the filters do a good job filtering out gunk and nasty stuff. We don't do a whole lot of like off-road driving. But look at that. Look how kind of gross this is, this buildup of stuff and gunk in here. Let's pull these off and see what it looks like underneath. All right, so it should be as simple as just popping these out. Let's bring that up to the camera here. Yeah, you can see nasty stuff. And these are heavy. I mean, they've accumulated a lot of dust and dirt. Looking down in between the cracks here, kind of see some of the hairs and, I don't know, stuff that just is outside as you're driving your car around. So this is a great mod. I think every 3 years, Tesla says this is a 22 and it's 2024. So probably a good idea. If you haven't ever done this on your Tesla and you're approaching that 2-3 year mark, get these. Pop the next one out here. And these say airflow down, this side up, so you can see airflow down. We'll remember that in the future. Sorry, it's not on camera. We'll see that. We'll get airflow down coming through these intake filters here. And let's pop out these little filters here. These should also just pop out from my understanding. Yeah, they got a little rubber gasket around them. So you just got to give them a little bit of a tug. These are a whole lot cleaner. Not a lot of gunk or anything going on in here. So that's a good sign. But definitely those top ones are looking pretty rough. Put that one down. So I suppose if you really wanted to, you could just kind of leave these ones in here and replace the others. Oh, kind of smashed over on this side. It's a good thing we're going to be spending time fixing these. All right, let's go get the other ones. I'm actually going to take a second and wipe all this stuff down real quick, and we'll get the other ones installed. So I took a minute and gave it everything a kind of a quick wipe down under here. As someone who takes pride in keeping my Tesla clean, keeping my cars running well, I really like to take the time to, when I have these opportunities and things are kind of taken apart, clean up. You know, Teslas already require so little maintenance. It's nice to be able to just keep it extra clean on the inside, things that don't see a lot of daylight outside of your paint and your mirrors and your windshield and all that. So take a minute, clean things up. So my advice to you guys. All right, let's take a look at getting these new filters installed from the F-Flack. And if I'm right, these should just snap in. There's a rubber gasket all the way around the outside here, and I like that. I think that's why they're kind of a nice fit. Let's just line it up here. It's just a pressure fit. Down in there, let's see. Gonna make sure that's nice and secure. Perfect. Okay, let's do the other side. And for the technologically challenged of us out there, it says airflow down, so we're installing them the right way. And there's no other difference that I can tell on a left or a right side. So we're just sending it. Make sure they're nice and seated in there. Creates a nice kind of seal all the way around. Perfect. All right, let's actually install our new filters after we got those gross ones out of here. And again, this side up, airflow, this side up. And there's not really any difference in the designation here. They look about the same on the side. So we're just going to plop them in. There's the first one. Nice fit. And here's the second one. Airflow down, this side up. Set it right on there. Great. Perfect. And that's it. You replaced your intake filters on your Tesla Model Y. Couldn't be happier. I think that's a really great install. I think it's going to do really good. Keep some of that smell down on the inside. Let's get to buttoning some of this stuff back up, and then we'll be back with our final thoughts. So putting everything back together is just doing it kind of in reverse order. So I cleaned up our cover here as well, just kind of lining up where it goes. It should find a nice happy spot somewhere in here. Getting it lined up with those screw holes right there. Perfect. You see all the screw holes here. Again, be really careful when you're installing these so you don't lose any of those screws down in the bowels of your Tesla here. All right, 10 screws, 10 screw holes. The next step is grabbing your frunk tub. We'll pop that back in. 4 bolts line up perfectly. Let's get those thrown back in real quick. And the last step is to reinstall your frunk button and installing this cover plate. So we got the trunk button and the plug all buttoned up back in there. Next, we're just going to be throwing this intake kind of cover, the plastic trim piece, back on. Make sure you line up those clips. And you should be able to see where they go fairly easy. If you look under here, you can see there's little holes where they line up in. Just snap it in. And there you go. And we're done, just like that. Overall, about 15 minutes of work, and we actually got brand new intake filters installed on our Tesla Model Y. Compared to these ones, holy cow. One more close-up of these. These are grimy and grungy. Even on the backside, you can see all the dirt and the particulates they've caught over the years. They've done their job, so not going to knock it for that. But to get some nice new ones in there makes you feel good about doing some maintenance on your Tesla. Like I said, they're already one of the lowest maintenance cars out there. So having an opportunity just to, you know, give a little back, just make a little bit of an upgrade, a little bit of a change so that you're not having to do it down the line, I think it's a really good investment. A link to the brand new air filters will be included down in the description in case you guys want to check them out on YesLAC's website. Appreciate them sending them over to me so I can install them and show you guys how to do it here. But again, this was super simple. You don't need a drill. You can do all this stuff with just hand tools. If you don't want to take out the front tub, you don't have to. You can just pull it back a little bit to get to those screws and you'll be done. So appreciate you guys coming back to the channel and stopping by. Feel free to like and subscribe. Appreciate you guys, and we'll catch you in the next one.